Hey everybody, Jim Chester coming to you live from Genesis Pediatric Conference 2019 out here in East Brunswick, New Jersey. And I have Donna Perillo here with me. And you live out here, right?
I do. The Garden State.
So Donna, what brought you out here this weekend?
Well, I would like to learn more about adjusting children. I'd like to learn more about vaccines. I'd like to learn more about just, tweaking my techniques and helping my patients.
And see, that's impressive because how long have you been a chiropractor?
Since '88.
So if any of you are out there watching and you can turn back the clock to 1988, that's when Donna decided that you were going to go out there and protect the sacred trust.
Yes.
And become a chiropractor and stand the front lines and get people healthy.
Absolutely. And keep myself and my family healthy.
Mm-hmm. And I know that you've seen quite the change of dogma within the public perception and as well as in the chiropractic space.
Yeah.
So one of the things we wanted to talk about was podcasting and why is it so important that we do what we do with our voice and connecting with each other?
So I think podcasting is actually fairly new, right? And what I've come to find out is the young people are much more into podcasting than people my age. People my age, it's still email, it's snail mail, and maybe Facebook, maybe some LinkedIn for business. But podcasting is for the young at heart, and I think some of it, like when Facebook came out, the older people didn't do it, and now they do it. And I think that's what's going to happen with the podcasting because people watch less and less TV. And so especially those people that commute, they listen and they want to learn. And this is a really good way for them to learn different aspects of whatever it is they're interested in. And most people are interested in staying healthy.
And I know that was another big topic of conversation for us here is this idea of what is a chiropractic lifestyle and how can we get that information to more people through podcasting?
Yes. So I think there's a lot of misconception about chiropractic. I was on a radio interview yesterday and we were talking about losing weight and detoxing. And she says, I didn't quite get chiropractic in that. And I said, well, the chiropractic lifestyle, we are looking not only at the structural part and the physical part, but there's a mental, emotional, spiritual part. And there's also a nutritional, chemical, environmental part. And so, because we talk about subluxation, well, what is the subluxation caused by? Well, pretty much caused by stress, but not just emotional stress. It could be physical stress or it could be environmental stress. So the chiropractic lifestyle, we're looking to have all three, the triad of health, all three aspects in alignment and in balance. So what does that mean? That means, well, I get adjusted regularly. I would never think of not getting adjusted. I don't just get adjusted for pain because that's what insurance companies sold us as. That's what we're under is physical medicine. But I get adjusted because I know when I get adjusted that my nervous system is functioning better. The communication between my brain, my organs, my endocrine system, everything is more efficient. And so does that mean that I never, ever, ever, ever get sick? Well, once in a while, but my body tends to not need medication most of the, I'm really not on any meds. And it's funny because when I started out, people would say, oh, you're crazy, you're getting adjusted, you're taking vitamins, you're doing this, you're wasting your time and your money. And I was in my 20s, and I said, well, when I'm in my 60s, we'll see if it paid off. So now I'm in my 60s, and I look around at all my friends, and I say, you know what? It paid off. It paid off. I'm healthy. I'm not on medication. I exercise. I get adjusted. I try to eat well. Do I eat garbage once in a while? Yeah, I do. I fall off the wagon. But, I always tell patients, it's not what you do a couple of times a year. There are 365 days in the year. So if you go out, you go to a wedding, you go to an event, and you cheat, it's okay. Don't beat yourself up. It's okay. You allow.
So I'm going to ask you a question we didn't script for, but just say you had a chance to meet a chiropractic student that's just finishing school. What might be some sage wisdom that you would impart upon them to where they would have a flourishing career?
Wow. I would tell them to get, first of all, become very principled as to what a subluxation is, educate their patients, always be caring, always educate and allow for questions and answers, and always take more seminars and get more certifications, learn acupuncture, learn nutrition, learn sport, whatever, diplomate neurology, because the more you know, the more you're able to perceive, and the better you can take care of your patients. And they know that. They know that, and they know they could trust you. And I think that's key.
See, that's just it, is when we think about where chiropractic going is as a profession, we have to think about what we would impart wisdom to the future generation that's going to be out there protecting the sacred trust. As we opened up our interview today, you've been practicing since 1988,
Yeah.
and you went out there to change the world in your community, but it also changed you. And that's the most important thing when we think about what's happening with the chiropractic profession, is we need to make sure that we're constantly supporting each other,
Yes.
that we do as what we're in the inner circle, because we're a part of this amazing tribe together
Yes, we
with
are.
Ed Osborne. So thank you for bringing Donna and I together,
Yes.
because we might not be connected if it wasn't for this great group that we're a part of.
Oh, the group is fantastic. The support, because sometimes you feel like you're alone out there. Like people just don't get why you're doing what you're doing. Why don't you just slow down? Why don't you retire? Why don't you? Well, because there's a passion about what we do. And so when we're together, it's just synergistic, and there's just more. And we need to get more people to get adjusted and to understand how important it is, because they're not getting it watching TV or watching commercials at all.
Well, for those of you that don't know much about me, I haven't had a television for almost 8 years, and I've totally turned myself away from most mainstream media, which most people are indoctrinated with.
Yes.
And that's why I create my own media. So I urge
Yeah.
all of you to go out there and to find what lights you on fire and what gives you soul purpose and what makes your genius thrive. Instead of having other people tell you what's good for you, maybe
Right.
go figure out what's good for yourself, and then share that message with other people so they can see you more alive. And I think that that's a huge talking point.
I'm with you there, and I believe that everybody has gifts. They just have to figure out what that gift is and what's going to turn that fire on for them and that passion for them. I always tell the kids in my practice, the younger ones, I always say, if you do what you love, you don't have to worry about making a living. Always do what you love, because if you get into a situation in life where you're not happy, whether it's a job or a relationship, you're going to get sick. There's not a question about it, because that's not why you're meant to be here. You're meant to be here. You have a purpose. You need to find it, and you need to go out there and claim it.
And that's just it, is if we don't do what we're supposed to, then someone else will feed us to do something that doesn't feel good to us.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people go out there and they do things for the wrong reason because they haven't defined their own reason.
Absolutely. I think I think all the time there's a mental, emotional, spiritual reason for the physical things that happen and the things that happen to us in life. And sometimes something that it seems like a tragedy and is a tragedy becomes one of the best things that happen to you in different ways. It's that saying, you turn the lemons into lemonade. But it's so true. So when something happens, I try to say, okay, well, what can I learn from this? And try to make something positive out of it, as opposed to feeling sorry for myself.
And that's just it, is sometimes the worst thing that will ever come into our life is actually a gift and a blessing. Yeah. We might not know how to actually internalize that immediately,
Right.
But we have to understand that time takes patience, and that learning takes discernment.
Yeah.
And that when people tell you no, What do I say? I tell you yes. And when you start telling yourself yes more, it feels awkward and uncomfortable, and we don't like that. We always want to be in this bubble of comfort, but when you're in a bubble of comfort, what does that do to us? It causes complacency.
Yeah.
And then we forget why we even do what we do or why we want to be out there and be on fire in the first place. And then the fire starts to get dim, and before we know it, we're despondent, we're displaced, and we don't really know how to build that connection. So really, that's why Chiro Hustle has done so well since we've come out into this arena and supported chiropractic, because as you were talking to me off camera, you're like, well, how do you do it and why do you do it? And I said, Donna, I never did it about the money. You're like, well, what about that? You have to have that to support yourself as you move through this journey. And I go, there's a plan and it's taking care of itself for me. I just keep showing up and I keep doing my best, and people recognize that. And the money, there's no issue when we do what sets us on fire, because it's not about that in the long game. It's about how can I become a better version of myself, not only becoming the doctor that you decided to become, but for me to be the megaphone of this beautiful profession of chiropractic. How does that change my trajectory into my future? And what am I going to be saying at 60 something?
Right.
I might be saying, I always did it because it made me feel good to talk about things that inspired me, and I didn't let other people hold me down and make me create a podcast on something that I wasn't passionate about.
Right, exactly. But it's not always easy to do, especially when it's, people close to you or family. They, sometimes they just don't understand it. And that's why the inner circle, that's why I love the inner circle, because I go into my own little world with my own little tribe, and then I know I can do it.
And that's just it. So let's close out and say a couple nice words to Stu and Terry Warner for bringing us all together.
Oh, the two of them are just, I know them now for a few years, to say the least, and this program, I just said to them today, I said, wow, I mean, this is a lot of work to put a program like this on, but they're so passionate. They have, they're family people. Their passion is to make sure that kids grow up healthy, and we know that that's not what's happening right now, and we need more people to come to these events and to learn how to get that message out to the general public, because they need to know. They need to know that this generation is first time is not going to be as healthy as my generation.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Stu and Terry, for bringing Donna and I together. Thank you, Ed, for bringing Donna and I together. And I just want to throw a big shout out to Natalie and Local Gold for bringing us all together here and co-branding with Chiro Hustle. If you guys need a better digital storefront, which is your website and your presence out there in the media space, reach out to Natalie with Local Gold. Go to www.localgold.com. And if you guys have not come over to Chiro Hustle and become a fanatic of what we do, go to chirohustle.com and like one of our episodes and maybe listen to it and then share it. And is there anything that I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Just that I'm a musician. that is, when I was in chiropractic school, that was my thing. Is when you're healthy, you're in tune, and when there's something wrong, you're dissonance. You're not in tune. You have to tune it up.
Well, here from my chiropractic musician friend, Donna Perillo, I am going to close out by saying you guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. We'll see you on the next interview. Thank you.